What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Spread the Positive podcast. I am your host, Trent Denson, founder of Spread the Positive and STP Productions, where our mission is to bring light to what's going right and to showcase and facilitate efforts that are making a positive impact in our local communities and beyond. Be sure to check us out, spreadthepositive.net. And also, if you're looking to get involved with the STP Podcast Network, please reach out and just check out all the amazing shows that are on the network. We continue to grow. We continue to build. Be part of the solution. Be part of what's going right. Welcome to the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Spread the Positive podcast. I'm your host, Trent Denson. As always, got a great revisit episode with one of my favorite people on the planet, Mr. Randy Allen. How are you, sir?
Hey, very good and very honored to be here with you today.
Yes, sir. Randy was early on, early Spread the Positive days, and just always appreciate your wisdom and your passion for the community and just your passion for people in general, man. You're someone I've always just resonated with. You're one of those that truly cares and someone that is out here trying to do the Lord's work, man. And that's what we're about here at Spread the Positive. So, Randy, obviously you are with Habitat, Rutherford County Habitat for Humanity. Take us back a little, just for the 3 or 4 people that might not know the greatness that is. Give us a little Cliff Note version of how you got to Habitat, and just give us a little update on all things Randy Allen.
Well, that's interesting. Kind of a broad.
I know. Just start from the top.
Well, I mean, I think, you said, hey, I've been kind of involved with you and Spread the Positive from the early days.
Yes, sir.
I do remember before there was a studio and where you were just kind of going to the person's location and
USB mic.
And you just were going to where. So it is great to come in and see how far you progress and to have a professional studio.
Yes, sir.
And you haven't changed, but the surroundings have gotten so much better than what you were working with. So it shows that obviously what you're doing is resonating with the community, and your success is growing. And
Appreciate
I think
that.
it's your format, to try to focus on the things that are going right in our community. And when you invited me on this time as well as in the past, you said, hey, let's talk about what's going right
That's
out there.
it. Let's go.
And
you said, what did you say? It's like you have to go out of your way to hear some of these amazing success stories that you're like the Habitat world and a lot of stuff that you're involved with. There's so much that is going right. So let's get into it, man.
And Trent, let me start off, and I might say it again, but I do want to say, thank you for what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Because you had a vision, and your vision is coming to fruition. It's may not be exactly where you want it to be, but it has come so far.
That's right.
In such a short period of time. And, I know you don't look at it this way. I think that when I'm looking at it from a grander, bigger, higher view, we just don't have the local news that we used to have when I was growing up.
Yep.
Every day, you went out to the driveway to get the newspaper, the daily newspaper. Sometimes it's a couple newspapers, and then you sat down and read it. You didn't think about how old that information was or how things had changed just since that had been written,
right.
The deadlines and all of those things. And today in our local community, Murfreesboro and Rutherford County, it's just hard to find local news. You go look at the D&J or the Tennessean is pretty much the same as the D&J, and there's no real local content. I think a lot of people are frustrated with that. I know the demise of newspapers across the world is
it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable. But so when I think of news, and local news, I think of Spread the Positive.
Hey, let's go. That's beautiful.
WGNS and VIP and Murfreesboro Pulse,
Yep.
are doing
Great
they're
job.
filling in some gaps But there's really no, and when I say no, what I'm saying is for the general consumer, there's just no easy way to find it.
That's right. Yep.
You have to be where the VIP is free, but you have to be somewhere where it is.
Yep.
WGNS, the radio station's going all the time. If you're on their email list, you're getting a lot of good local news. Brian Barrett and Bart Walker, it's Scott Walker. They're doing a great job over there.
They are.
But I don't think that a lot of times people, when they are generally looking, that's not the first place they look. They still think of WGNS as an AM radio station. They don't realize how much news they're processing through there.
That's true.
So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah,
You're doing a great job, and the fact that you're going in depth. And it just, when you said that about, hey, you have to go. It's so hard to find those good stories.
That's it.
I think that's something we're missing in our community. It's grown, and there's a lot of challenges here. But one of those things is we just don't have enough local content about good things that are happening, and you're trying to make a dent in that.
That's it. Just any counter we can create.
That's right.
It.
And I think that's important. So when you say, a little bit about me, I grew up here. My family owned a business here. I've worked for both the state of Tennessee and Metro government here in Murfreesboro. Yep. People are surprised a lot of times that Metro government actually employed people. Davidson County Metro government employed people, but they did here. They still do. And then, I've run for county mayor a couple of times, and that's really given me a bigger exposure to what was going on. And that really started with, a lot of just progressing through your career and realizing the gaps and the challenges, the needs, currently, I landed with the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. I'm coming up on my 6th year with them here in Rutherford County. It was not my goal to be in working for a nonprofit or to be working for a national brand like Habitat for Humanity. I was aware of them, but not very knowledgeable about what was going on. And since I've been there, we've built over 30 houses for families in our community. We've started a subdivision that is the first Rutherford County Habitat subdivision in our community. Nashville has several, Memphis, Knoxville, other places have subdivisions, but we actually started ours back in 2019, and it's going to have 76 homes in it when it's completed.
That's so awesome.
Somewhere in the next 5 to 8 years. It's Habitat's 35th year in the community. So that's a huge milestone. When I got there, we were just coming up on 30. Yep. And just to be here for 35 years of building homes. And this year, we are actually going to start the 200th house in Rutherford County. So that'll be in August. And we're really excited. Going to have a big community celebration and get everybody out there, not just hammering nails, but telling stories and fellowshipping and all kinds of different events that we're working on now. I think that one of the things that I have realized while at Habitat is the ability to impact change on a generational level.
Yes.
We have got a lot of people in this community and this world that did not have home ownership in their legacy. They did not have a parent, grandparent that owned a home. And it's life-changing to do that. I noticed the other day, I saw a graph, and you may have seen this too, where for the first time in the history of the United States, it's more affordable to rent than to own. And that is I mean, that's what the end of the American dream, right? I mean, because if you don't own your home and you don't own your car and you don't, all of a sudden, you're in a situation where you're not in control. And I think as Americans and as we want, and as Christians, we want to be in control of our fate. We want to know where we're going, and we've got a roadmap ahead. And so that's a real concern, that home ownership is not as affordable as rental, but it's also shines a really bright light on what Habitat does.
Yeah, absolutely.
To help people achieve that goal and to change. So I was telling you on Thursday at Believers in Business about a dedication we'd had last week. It was interesting how it kind of had come full circle for me from being on the outside and just watching. It had nothing to do with me other than I just happened to be observing the beginning to the end of this.
That's really
and
cool,
so when I was with the Department of Labor, working with the unemployment office back in 2008, 9, 10, a lot of people talk about those years as the worst. I think 2011 was probably hit us the hardest here.
Yeah.
Because, it seems like Murfreesboro, Rutherford County has a delayed effect. You can watch what's going on in the rest of the country, and for some reason, it takes longer for it to get here. But then it lasts a little bit. When everybody else is getting back, we're a little bit behind the recovery. Anyway, so I had met this lady, and she was challenged to try to find a job. She had lost a job. She was very consistent about coming and visiting our offices and working on her resume and interviewing and getting a job, a temporary job, losing that job, how things were back then. Anyway, so fast forward to Habitat, and a lady enters our program. Not the same lady, but the daughter of this lady.
Wow, okay.
And so she enters this program that she had tried to be successful in 2008, and here we are, 2024.
Wow.
So she had failed to begin and just gone on, and so here we are at 2024, and we're dedicating her house that she built intentionally to house her mother and her children.
Wow.
And the mother is the lady that I had met back when times were so hard.
Yeah.
And she was struggling with income and housing, and now her daughter has achieved homeownership, and she will house both her mother and her children. And so, I think that's just it changes everything.
Changes the cycle.
For those kids to have their grandmother in a safe and comfortable house, to have her right there in the same house, to have her mother and grandmother to lean on as they grow up and meet the challenges. So
that's beautiful.
So it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hard work on the front end.
Oh, I bet.
Building the houses, working with volunteers, raising money, keeping the doors open, the lights on, all of those things. But when you get to that dedication, you look around and people are crying.
Yeah.
And it's people you and I know, which you would think, oh my gosh, I'm sure they've seen this before, but it's not like a regular, hey, I just closed on my house, and your family's all happy for you.
Right.
This is like a celebration that the community comes together, and we pray for the family, we bless the house, we give all the glory to God.
It's beautiful.
Most of the walls behind the drywall have got blessings and well wishes and things that were written by the community volunteers, the people that worked on the house. I mean, it's such a different thing. And so, when I think about affordable housing, and the challenge of that, I'm very thankful that Habitat is successful in our area, that we're doing everything we can to make housing, home ownership affordable for families.
It's the biggest issue. It has to be
well,
top 3 issue for sure.
It is. I mean, and I hear people, I know there are different aspects, and I work with them all, from the homeless all the way to, to home ownership.
Sure.
In different aspects. So, we're it's almost like if you can imagine a pipeline, and once you enter that pipeline, you've got to have the opportunity to move forward down that pipeline. You've got to have hope and faith. And
that's the magic of Habitat's whole model, right?
That's
like,
right.
It's not, you don't just get a house. Like, that's a misconception that we always try to, wanted to spend a little time on that, because it's important to really, there's a process, extensive process.
There is. So it starts with the application. So we opened the application for this year. We opened it for 2 weeks.
Okay.
We got over 330 people who picked up applications. We had about 150 of them returned.
Okay.
Some of those, and so, just like I was asking, people are probably asking, like, what happened to all those other people? Well, some people are just not mortgage ready.
Sure.
And I realize I'm talking to an expert with you, that
Easy.
you deal with, a lot of different things, and throughout life. You find things on your credit report, you find, that you didn't even know were there.
Sure.
And you've got to fix those. And so some people are just not mortgage ready. And at Habitat, they're purchasing the house. They have to be able to purchase the house with a mortgage. And so they, once we get down to a final number, we have a family selection committee who goes out and makes home visits to each of those homes. And they base their scoring on need.
Wow.
So these people have already met the minimum requirements. Now we're looking at need. Is it somebody in a wheelchair that the where they're living is not accessible for people with disabilities, or is it a situation where you've got a roof leak and the landlord won't fix it, or lots of different things. But you look at need, and then they make the assessment, they do the scoring, they come back and they finalize their who they feel like's been successful. That goes to the board of directors for Habitat to be voted on and approved. And then each of those people, based on how close they are to being ready, begins the process of 300 to 400 partnership hours, which working on their house, working on other people's houses. They are working with their family, their volunteers. They're working in the restore. They could even get hours for working at other nonprofits as well. Megan Hutchins is our volunteer coordinator and keeps up with all that. So then, in addition to that, they're doing 50 hours of financial and home ownership education.
Man.
So 30 pre and 20 post. They're learning about budgeting. They're learning about who to call when your water heater leaks, or, the entire gamut on writing a will or getting insurance. And we're bringing in experts in those areas to talk to them. So Legacy Point has an HOA, the subdivision that we're currently working in. So people don't know what an HOA is. They don't know what it's like to not have a landlord to call to fix something, or in some cases they don't even know how to start a lawnmower because they've never, one of the funny things that Joel Bigelow told me when he was starting indoor athletics, he said, man, I'm going to teach these kids to start a lawnmower. And I'm thinking, you know what? That's probably a really good skill to have.
Absolutely.
But if you've never had to mow a lawn, you don't know anything about setting the height and all the things that go in there.
Sure.
But all of those things go into the education part. And at any time, somebody could drop out of that program, because something changed, they could get transferred for their job, or they could get a promotion and all of a sudden they're income no longer fits
Really?
our guidelines or something like that. I mean,
Man.
there's we make sure they're mortgage ready on the front end, or they can obtain mortgage readiness, but they're also screened again at the end of the process.
Yeah.
So if something's changed, you got married, you got a second income, you got somebody in your household now that's working, they weren't when you started, and because of that, we
Man,
try
that's tough.
to not put somebody in the program so long. A year and a half is a long time
Yeah,
to
a lot
stay
can
mortgage
happen.
ready.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it is a process. Habitat. A lot of people ask me, well, can they sell the house? Because our most recent. We're doing this right before Memorial Day 2024.
Yes, sir.
And so when I tell you this, just a Habitat house, 1,200 square foot, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, with a garage, is currently appraising in Murfreesboro at around $350,000. That's an entry level, affordable home in Murfreesboro right now. Most of our clients cannot afford that on a 30-year mortgage. And so that's where Habitat utilizes all of our resources,
Right.
volunteer labor, fundraisers, all of the things that help fill that gap. And so there's a first mortgage, and then there's a silent second. And as long as you stay in that house and you keep making your payments and you don't refinance, then that second silent second will never come due. If at some point you decide you need to sell, you getting transferred, whatever, Habitat has first right of refusal.
Okay.
So we get an opportunity to match whatever your offer is. And if we do that, we're going to turn around, rehab the house, and put another family in it. If you sell it, you're going to owe all of your remaining first mortgage, as well as your silent second. Any grants, any of those things will have to be repaid. So it does help stability.
Yeah.
That you don't have people just getting
Flipping,
in one, turning
yeah.
around, and getting out. It
Right.
has to be for home ownership. You can't. It can't be a
Sublease,
second
yeah.
home, a second sublease, rental, any of those things. So all of those are what makes Habitat successful.
Right.
I will say that it is, I've heard it across it's so cliche now, it's a hand up, not a handout.
Yeah.
And I think that when we're looking across our community at where we're putting our resources into things, I mean, you have to know there are some times when somebody just needs a handout.
Yeah.
They need something right now. It's an emergency situation. There are other times when we can set someone on a trajectory to never need a handout again. And that's an important part of what we do.
Right.
I did mention, the 200th house, and that event's going to be coming up probably in August. We do a couple of other major events a year. One of those is Hammer Down.
Yep.
Hammer Down for Habitat.
Right.
It's started out as a motorcycle ride that one of our board members out at General Mills started.
That's so cool.
He was riding a motorcycle to work every day, and he was like, man, I think there's a lot of people who ride motorcycles that would like to support Habitat. And he was right.
Yep.
And so it's now it's grown into a classic car.
Nice.
And motorcycle. We are going to return this year to Hop Springs.
Let's go.
So it's going to have a live band, a band called Whiskey Smoke.
I love it.
Will be performing. Super good band. I mean, really good. Local band.
Yes. Let's go.
They are. So we'll have that. It's going to be September 21st. It'll be 100-mile motorcycle classic car ride.
Okay.
And it's a poker run, so they make stops and draw cards.
Okay.
And at the end of the ride, they end up at Hop Springs. It starts at Habitat, ends at Hop Springs, and there's prizes, door prizes for best hand, worst hand, all of those things. Cool. You get an opportunity to buy more cards. There's a raffle There's food, music. Obviously, Hop Springs has got beverages, that adult beverages that some people want to take advantage of, and so we're really excited about
awesome.
that. September 21st.
Okay.
And then the first Saturday in November, we've got Cooking to Build, which will be up on the square again. Yeah, chili, soup, gumbo, whatever. There will be somewhere around 40 different tents, organizations, churches, nonprofits, businesses that just send a team out and compete for your votes. And so we've got a couple of bands that are going to be playing at that as well. Music, you may have heard of Memory Train, local band that was there last year and has agreed to come back again this year. Super
encore tour.
You can paint your own bowl at the what used to be the pottery place. It's now called Color Me Mine.
Love it.
You can go over there and paint your bowl, and that helps your ticket price. You can. We don't actually eat out of the bowls anymore. Each vendor now has a styrofoam cup. So, but we'll have one of the most popular things is Dana Womack State Farm and Michael Busey sponsor a Coke root beer float stand that's really popular.
Shout out to both of them.
Yeah, they're
so
great.
Dana and Michael,
partners.
we love you.
Yeah,
they're so good.
So we've got a lot of different things like that. Cooking to Build will be all day on the square. You pay to get in, and you vote for the winner, so your votes count. Different government offices. I know Lisa Kroll's office. It is intense.
It gets intense. A lot of people are out there campaigning.
That's right. All the Rotary. If it's an election year, they're all out there.
Right.
The Rotary clubs, Kiwanis always sponsors the water. I mean, it's just a really great community event, and it's right the first weekend after the farmers market ends.
Okay, that's
and
smart.
So you're already in the habit of coming up there, now you just keep coming.
That's right.
So those are a couple of things that are coming up for Habitat, and that's how
awesome.
we fund a lot of the things we do.
That's amazing. And all this success, man, and I think, like you said, just the process and how thorough it is, and it's a real established process that works. That's what we're about.
That's
Again,
right.
bringing light to the stuff that's actually working. I think
right.
We should really hone in on that and continue to assist and facilitate and help as much as we can, because, it's something that is 35 years in the making. It works, and it will continue to work, especially if we put our resources in the right places. So
that's right.
It's all, man. That's so good.
There was, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit too about. I have just become the Rotary Club of Murfreesboro's president.
Okay, congratulations!
In January.
Nice.
Thank you. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about. Rotary while I was here.
Absolutely.
And this Rotary Club is the oldest civic club in Rutherford County.
Wow.
105 years in October.
Wow.
And so we're meeting at the Carriage Lane Inn on Tuesdays at noon.
Okay.
And you're welcome. Anybody's welcome to attend. Yeah. Come over and visit with us. We've had some excellent speakers, and we'll continue to have some really good speakers. But what, one of the things that I wanted to highlight today is that the Rotary Club of Murfreesboro grant is open now. The deadline is June 1st.
Ooh, okay.
So you got a couple weeks, and the grant will be awarded by the end of July. If you have a program or a 501c3 that is interested, your focus area needs to tie in with one of the 7 areas of focus for Rotary. So, and I'll list those off for you. Peace building and conflict prevention.
Love it.
Disease prevention and treatment. Water, sanitation, and hygiene. Maternal and child health. basic education and literacy, community economic development, and environment.
Let's go.
So you can pretty much
That covers a lot of things. If you're not in there, you probably need to reevaluate if you're not one of those 7.
That's right.
No,
So you can you can visit the Rotary Club of Murfreesboro website for more information, or you can email one of the members and ask for the application. My email for that is Randall, RANDALLK .Allen at gmail.com.
Gotcha.
And just request it, and I'll get it over to you as quickly as I can.
Does have to be a 501c3 officially?
501c3 that aligns with the program that aligns with one of those areas of focus.
Awesome. How much is it for?
It can be, you make the request.
Oh, wow.
For however much you need, or they need, or whatever. So
that's awesome.
I think that there may be some that this would be a significant grant for, and there may be others that this is just a small piece, but the opportunity to partner with your local Rotary Club. Mm-hmm. There are 3 Rotary Clubs in Rutherford County. There's a breakfast Rotary that started in the Murfreesboro Rotary Club and then kind of branched off, and they meet at 7 o'clock on Thursday mornings at the Hyatt Place out on Medical Center. And then there's the Smyrna Rotary that they combined the Laverne and the Smyrna together, and they meet on Thursdays at noon at the Town Center in Smyrna. So also, just want to make sure everybody understands that there are 4 tenets of Rotary that are important to know. And part of the reason I'm with Rotary, or I felt like I was led to Rotary, was because of these tenets. But every meeting, at the beginning of each meeting, we ring the bell, we say a prayer, we say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we recite these the 4-way test for Rotary. And it's number 1, is it the truth? Which, hey, let's just lead off with that, because if it ain't, we don't need to be here. What are we doing? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? So if you align or believe those are important, then Rotary is where you need to be. And you might want to consider our club. We do one fundraiser, our club. It's called Hot Cakes and Holly.
Yes.
You're going to have I'm speaking into existence, because it's going to happen. December the 7th. Spread the Positive is going to be live.
Yes, we will.
In the Hot Cakes and Holly
Is that
event.
MTCS?
It is at Middle Tennessee Christian School.
All right.
Yep, December 7th. It starts at 7:30 a.m. And it's all you can eat. All the hot cakes and sausage and cinnamon rolls and coffee and all of those things.
That's
and
beautiful.
Last year we added a little vendor area where we've got some crafts and different things. Very successful, and we'll probably expand that a little bit this year. And so we take the funds that we raise from that, and that's what we use to give the grant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And so that's a direct correlation to that.
Yep.
In addition, another thing that we're kind of known for is the Dictionary Project.
Okay.
We provide dictionaries, physical dictionaries, to every 3rd grader in. Normally, it would be Murfreesboro, but this year we went ahead and expanded out, and every 3rd grader in Rutherford County should have received a Rotary gift in the form of a dictionary. With the 4-way test in it. And
that's amazing.
It was, it is just, we're just wrapping that up. I mean, with school systems and getting into classrooms and all those things. But Breakfast Rotary and us partner on that. And so we were very very fortunate this year to be able to give them all the way across Rutherford County.
Yeah, that's incredible.
What's
going right? Man.
Those
physical
kids,
dictionary. I bet they're like, this is amazing.
And
this
that's
is how
the funny
it used to
thing.
work.
That's right. The funny thing is, I mean, you can pick up your phone right now and probably look up any word you need to look up.
Absolutely.
But those kids in 3rd grade were so proud. I mean, people were, kids were asking, "Can I keep it?
Yeah.
Is it
yours.
mine?
Yes.
Can I write my name in it?"
Yep.
I mean, like, I can't wait to show this to my mom or my dad,
so cool.
or, and
little
you just
things,
think,
man.
yeah, man,
You would never. I would never think that. I mean, that's so cool. I haven't heard of that. So again,
it is
going out of our way to show this stuff that's working. And kids are pumped about a dictionary, and that's amazing. And they'll learn. And the process, man, that was a thing.
And the teachers say that it's a totally different skill set than looking it up on your phone. That you're looking, everything's alphabetized. Everything, it's a different skill that those kids learn from a physical book. And so we're going to continue to do that. Next year, we'll hit the 3rd grade again, and those will be 4th graders and 5th grade,
Just keeps going.
Yeah, and it'll just keep on growing. So
I love that.
Very excited about some of the stuff that Rotary's doing, and I'll be president until July 1 of 25. Okay. So we got a lot of things that
but you got some ideas.
That we want to do. And
yes, sir.
And, 105 years, we're going to have some type of a celebration in October is when we were chartered back in 1919.
Wow.
Here in Murfreesboro.
That's beautiful.
And,
that's beautiful.
And so it's interesting to be the president of a club with that historic value.
That's amazing.
To it.
Couldn't think of a better person for it. That's
great. Well, thank you. Yeah.
What else, man? What are you excited about? What are you excited about personally? You got anything on deck that you're excited about?
Well, I mean, there's all kinds of things that motivate me every day to get up. We are, I work a little bit with We Care, which is an opioid task force, and Wellness Council, which is part of Rutherford County Health Department, and Prevention Coalition for Success, a little bit with them, the Housing, Health, and Human Services Alliance of Rutherford County. So, I mean, we're all doing things, but one of the things that I think that, you and I have talked about is over the course of time is, it's very frustrating when you drive downtown or something and you see the same person every day that just, I was out somewhere, over by, if anybody's been around there, over by Hobby Lobby, on that road between Hobby Lobby and Lowe's. And there's a lady standing out there with a sign. She's got 2 little kids. One's in a stroller and the other's, a toddler. And they're standing out there in the corner holding a sign, saying,
I need help.
I need help. I need help. And that man, if you were in that situation, it would be desperate times. But I think that it's a challenge today to determine who is actually, with so many resources here in Murfreesboro. We still need resources in the northern part of the county, but with so many resources in Murfreesboro, to think that there isn't something available. And I think a lot of times what happens is people just don't know where to go to find that resource. And 2-in-1, which is a United Way program, it's great, it's helpful, but a lot of times it has to be a local person that takes that person by the hand and says, hey, how can I help you? Or can I don't know if you're familiar with David Coggin that has Barnabas Vision. David's mission, that Barnabas Vision's mission, is to connect that person with
the resources,
somebody who can help them get to those resources. I think that's much more impactful. When I look at overall, from what I hear working with different organizations and friends who are working for and with companies and organizations, I think one of the frustrating things is there's a lot of duplication of services.
Yes.
You know, it is not always the right fit, and so there's so many different services that you can just go from, oh, here I got a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but over here I got a gift card to go and eat at Olive Garden.
Sure.
Or, you know, over here they said, hey, I can get a coat,
Yeah.
you know, but now where do I put my coat, you
Right.
know, when it gets too warm?
Sure.
And I think that a lot of times it's difficult. And, you know, one of my favorite quotes, and you can credit it back to, you know, Teddy Roosevelt. I seem to credit Teddy Roosevelt to Ronald Reagan, that there's no limit to what can be accomplished when we don't care who gets the credit.
Man.
And if you think about that, a lot of times people's egos get in the way. I don't like the way you're doing it, so I'll go start my own.
Exactly.
You know, or you're not serving the same population that I want to serve.
Sure.
And so a lot of times, you know, it's funding that leadership and funding that that can overcome some of these things. And a lot of times we just don't have that. It's a lack of focus.
Yep.
I'm sure you've heard of Simon Sinek, who wrote the book Start With Why. And that's a great book. It's an important book, and I've read it a couple of times. But I'll tell you, the book that resonated with me the most is a book called The Infinite Game. And The Infinite Game is about, hey, it's not about winning and losing. We can't try to beat the other person, or this is not a game we can win. We're not going to end homelessness, probably not my lifetime. Doesn't mean we don't need to try, but we need to be working to establish a framework, an infrastructure that allows us to continue to combat it.
Yes.
Even if we can't end it, we have to keep working toward that end goal. And how do we get the next person, you know? And I think about this from a leadership perspective, you know, that who's the next person in line for Rotary president, or who's the next person that's going to do something about water quality in our community, or, you know, all of those things. And I think we've got a lot of great people in this community.
That's
but
for sure.
We have to start thinking about bigger issues and then addressing them locally.
Yep.
So I remember back in 2011, 10, 9, in those times when we were saying, man, education can overcome everything. You know, if you've got enough education, if you don't have a certificate, you're probably not going to succeed, or a diploma, or a college degree, a master's degree. You know, I spent a lot of those years helping people go back to school to get some type of certification just so they could get noticed by an employer, upgrade their skills or whatever. But I think that, you know, what we have found is, or at least things have kind of changed, that, you know, not everybody's right for a college degree, or not everybody's going to be happy, you know, working in a cubicle making cold calls. You were talking earlier about, you know, how this really fills your cup. I mean, I think it's a challenge for people to find something that fills their cup and pays the bills, you know?
Yes. And
so we all have these ideas and these things we want to accomplish, or these things that make us happy. But sometimes we have to do things we don't like so that we can do the things we do like.
Yep.
You know, I personally believe that, you know, we've all got a talent that is needed around us, and sometimes we just fight that talent, hold it back because we got to do something else. You look at people like Scott Foster and, you know, Cliff Sharp, and Jane. I mean, I don't think they'll ever be millionaires, you know, but they get up every day because they've got a purpose. And sometimes finding that purpose is the right thing for the time, and unfortunately, sometimes that doesn't pay very much.
Yep.
But it is helping our neighbor. Friend of mine, I don't know if you know him or not, Phil Holt, used to be the president of First Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And, he said that, look, the problem is not that we don't have the resources or that person is not capable of doing it. It's just that they are under-resourced. Mm-hmm. And what he meant by that was a lot of people have moved here away from their families, away from their caregivers, so you've got a husband and wife that move here with a small child, and where they moved from, their mother, their parent could help with babysitting, but they get here and they've got to pay for a babysitter. They got to pay for childcare. They got to pay for transportation, all of those things that we just take for granted because we've been here. Our resources are all around us. They need people to help them find those resources.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that I really want to stress is that a lot of this is lack of focus. So, Trent, there's and if you've gotten this deep into this podcast,
you're here for it.
You're here to hear
right.
this right here. I really believe that, what makes us feel good is not enough to overcome the issues that this community faces.
Wow.
And so sometimes good people have got to do great things. And so, it's been the challenge throughout our history, right?
Yeah,
the people we recognize. I was at so here's an interesting little thing. I'll throw in here. I've started going to this little group that is a little history group that meets on Monday nights.
Nice.
It's just kind of random. I saw it in the Pulse, actually. On their calendar, and I was like, what is this about? I love history, and I read the little summary, and I thought, hey, I'm going to go attend this thing. So I've been about 3 or 4 times. They meet on Monday night over at Hank's.
Nice.
2 doors down.
Yep.
And it's really a free thing. It doesn't cost anything. You just, the bar's open, the restaurant is, you can eat a meal. And the audio and video is like, it's actually like being in a movie theater.
That's awesome.
So anyway, this guy shows little clips throughout history. And it just, one of the things I learned in the first couple of weeks, because you think about Benedict Arnold, and the first thing that comes to everybody's mind is traitor. He's a traitor. But in the Battle of Saratoga, he was the hero. He won the day, and the British had never surrendered anywhere in the world. And Benjamin Franklin's sitting over in France trying to convince them to join our effort here in the United States to become our own country. And he's waiting for good news, and this defeats just keep coming in, And then all of a sudden, he gets the news that the British have surrendered to the colonists, to the Revolutionary Army, and changes everything. The French are so excited. They're so happy. They immediately commit their army and their navy, which we did not have a navy. And it really said this was all Benedict Arnold. In that battle, he was shot in the leg. And when somebody asked him how he felt, he said, I wish it had been my heart.
Wow.
Because if he had died that day, he would have been a hero.
Wow.
But instead, 3 or 4 years later, he became a traitor, and that's what we know him for.
That's wild.
Having said all that, when I say good people have to do great things, they have to do hard things. And the easy things are not always worth doing. I feel like we are in a situation here in Rutherford County and Murfreesboro where things are changing so fast. all around us.
Yep.
And you got people that are angry because development is going crazy. There are other people in other states and cities and counties that are saying, man, I wish we had a little bit of that problem.
Yeah.
Because we can't get businesses to come here.
Right.
You know, we're building more schools and it's costing us a lot of money. But there are people who are saying, man, I wish we could just build one new school.
Right.
I wish we had the money, the income, the tax revenue, all of those things. So it's really a matter of looking at where you're at and trying to figure out what can you do. And when I say that, it's not always about money.
Yep.
It's not always about time.
Yep.
Sometimes it is money, and sometimes it is time. Sometimes it's your talent.
Yep.
I think of your mother a lot of times when I'm thinking of these things because, you know, she has such a passion. I don't know how she was for you growing up. I can imagine.
Been like that, yeah.
But she is a giver.
Yep.
And, you know, and I think the world's full of givers and takers.
That's fair.
And I think that there are people like your mother that this community the majority will never know her name. But if you go in Liberty Station or you come over to Habitat or any of the other nonprofits, her name should be on the building, you know, that kind of thing. So
absolutely. Shouts to my mom.
Yes.
Love you, Mom.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, man, this is awesome. Thank you for doing
that. I talked
to
you a lot about a lot of different stuff.
That's what this is about. And I always appreciate your insights and your guidance and just what you're doing. It's always inspirational, and I appreciate you. And we'll do this again.
Yeah.
We got to do it again. Be sure to check out all the events coming up for Habitat. We'll be there. We'll be pushing record on, you know, the stuff that's working, man. That's all we can do. So
we want you to be, you know, Hammer Down, Cooking to Build, Hotcakes and Holly. We want that live.
Yes.
In person, interviewing.
That's
it,
man.
I think that'd be great.
I'm here for it.
All right.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you to everybody watching. Thanks to the sponsor, 1200 Club. Randy Allen, everyone. Appreciate you, man. Love you too, man. Appreciate you. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Spread the Positive podcast. For more information about all the things we got going here at Spread the Positive, please check us out, spreadthepositive.net. Get involved with our underwriting, advertising, sponsorship program, start a podcast, or if you just want to support the mission, reach out on spreadthepositive.net or any of our social media handles at Spread the Positive. Look forward to connecting with y'all and giving y'all another fire episode on the next one. Thank you, and we will see you then. Let's go.